Let's take their guns and defend ourselves against these crazy birds. A little bit later in a bar. They're all dead, Rod. She's dead too. Yes, Rod, that's what they're all dead means. It doesn't mean one or two people out of the all are alive. It means they're all dead, Rod. That's what all means. Not the detergent, all. No, don't drink the goddamn detergent. What the hell are you doing, Rod? Even though it seems like everybody that had anything to do with this movie drank some detergent. The birds are stressing me out. I need a beer. Don't mind if I do. It's not a beer, by the way. It's an energy drink, because I don't drink. Boy, I guarantee you, everybody in Birdemic 3 Sea Eagle certainly drank. And if they didn't, I have no other explanation for why Birdemic 3 Sea Eagle exists. If you don't know what Birdemic 3 Sea Eagle is, it's a sequel to, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, sit down, James Nguyen's Birdemic Shock and Terror and Birdemic 2 The Resurrection Electric Bird Boogaloo. Yeah, if you've seen the first Birdemic and the second Birdemic, this is, well, the threequel, as it were, and continues the odyssey of birds proving that we are wrecking the planet, so they attack us eventually. Kinda, maybe, sorta, and then they just vanish. I mean, recounting the plot of Birdemic 3 Sea Eagle is not going to take more than maybe a goddamn minute, because there really is no plot. Birdemic Shock and Terror, it had an endearing so bad it's good, even though it's apocalyptically bad quality, because it was made for 10 grand. It was an homage or homage to The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock, which I also retro-reviewed. You can check that out at some point. Yeah, James Nguyen, who's done movies such as Julie and Jack, Replica, Birdemic Shock and Terror, and Birdemic 2, The Resurrection Boogaloo. 3 of those 4 were done by the guys at Riff Tracks, and boy, they certainly did their best with Replica. Replica is really bad, and James Nguyen, bless the guy for trying to get his ideas on film. He certainly got the passion. He doesn't have the ability to make anything any good, but he certainly has the passion to put it out on film. But yes, the first Birdemic Shock and Terror, had Ellen Baugh, or however you say that, and the girl who played Natalie, as 2 star-crossed lovers, as it were, or 2 people to come together right now over me. Well, they come over each other eventually, and then birds attack. And then they have to save some kids. Oh, birds don't have teeth, you stupid idiot. Riff Tracks really made that enjoyable. But from there, we got a sequel where they were there, and then some other people were there, and Birdemic 2 had a $300,000 budget. Still, the special effects were shit, because that would barely pass for a budget of even a standard independent horror movie these days. And now, for some reason, 10 years later, even though Birdemic 2 was not good at all, it was worse than the first one, because at least with the first one, it was done so badly that at least you could appreciate the fact that it was so bad, it was bad. At least there were some entertaining moments. Birdemic 2 did not capture that same magic, and now, way far away from the joke, being totally wrung out to the point where it's like a sponge. Yeah, brain is like a sponge, and this movie is like a dirty old sponge, as it were. It basically doesn't have that endearing quality and just hits you over the head with the climate change stuff, where at least it was funny in the first one. It was sort of funny for a few minutes in the second one, and my God, Alan Baugh, or however you say it, was in this for barely any time. There was another girl named Katie, because Natalie didn't want to return. And we have a new Rod and a new Natalie. We have Evan Ryan Lord, and oh, I prayed for the Lord to take me while I was watching this. And Kim, Julia Colbert. I have nothing against anybody in this movie, even though I basically called for their heads in the very beginning, because it's a Birdemic movie, so you know what you're getting into. Fortunately, this movie's only a few bucks on Amazon. Yes, I paid for it. You know why I paid for it? Because even if I hate a movie, I'm going to support the artist by actually paying for it. Because if they're going to put the effort in, minimal or otherwise, when it comes to James Nguyen's inability to understand how to do proper filmmaking, or any filmmaking, or anything that doesn't make me want to basically take this pen and just, make it disappear, if you get what I'm saying. At least the first one. Let's get into this. Sea Eagles eventually attack, and Evan and Kim have a romance, and they talk about various pieces of, they talk about the environment, and actually cancer being, put, or, cancer causing agents in the seawater affecting sea lions and whales and all aquatic life. How does Kim know this? Because she pours water out of water balls, testing it and everything, because that's how she knows. It took 6 minutes for the first piece of dialogue to happen in this 83-minute movie. And it actually, the end credits started about 80, with about 3 minutes left. But a flock of sea eagles attack, and they ran so far away to Santa Cruz and not Half Moon Bay. But yeah, the actual thing was a flock of seagulls attack Santa Cruz, California. Why did the birds attack? Who will survive? The genres for this were romance and thriller. And yeah, it's Movie Head Studios, in association with Film Ass Productions. Why? Just why? Who asked for Birdemic 3 to exist, and who asked for it to be this boring? They didn't even make it entertaining. That's the thing that was absolutely mind-blowing about this. You have the formula, just make it really stupid and entertaining. Don't wait nearly an hour before you have the birds attack. If you don't have even a fraction of the budget to make anything happen, here's an idea: don't make the goddamn movie. Just don't make it. Because if you're not even going to try to make it entertaining, what the hell are you doing? James Wan really thinks that he's making something epic here. Yes, the planet is screwed. Yes, we've gotten to the point where we're probably not going to be around on this planet by 2050. And we're probably going to have to do some stuff like go into space, where space birds will no doubt attack us. But I just cannot believe that this movie tried to recreate a whole bunch of scenes and tried to recreate the romance between Rod and Natalie, but with not Rod and not Natalie. And bless Ryan Lord and Julia. I hope that they can actually get into bigger productions and better productions. But boy, James Wan sure loves to show cars driving around and walking and endless driving and endless dribble and endless everything. And James Wan, you will be brought to justice and put into the gulag for this, or brought to the gulag, or however it is. So let's go over some pieces of dialogue and everything since I've talked about this. There are going to be spoilers in this, but honestly, missing out on this will not haunt you until your dying days, however long that is, because the human race is all screwed. The special effects are terrible, and even when the eagles show up, barely anything happens. I mean, literally, barely anything happens. For a high body count that the first one sort of had, and the second one had, at least to the best of my recollection, this has a shockingly low body count. And you don't care about anybody. You actually you're almost wanting to tear your goddamn face off watching the fact that this is the finished product. Imagine if they just went with one take each. I can't imagine they did multiple takes. There were points where people were reading their goddamn lines on a goddamn piece of paper. And yes, it's one thing, I have notes, but I'm also doing a short review or a review on YouTube. I'm not out there trying to do a film production. I know my limits. I can watch film and enjoy film, but some of the pieces of dialogue. I don't know how Kim knew about the sea, causing cancer, but it is what it is. Rod and Natalie had better chemistry, and they barely had any chemistry in this. Let me say again, I know that they are very nice people. They have done interviews, and it is great that they have gotten film, and they have gotten notoriety, almost like The Room. I take Birdemic over The Room, but nevertheless. But still, these films are apocalyptically awful. And some shots in this movie actually look okay. Some of the shots actually aren't all that bad. But it's also 40 minutes worth of material stretched out to 83 minutes, so I mean, all they had to do was long establishing shots. They've improved somewhat, so maybe the budget is $500,000, but nevertheless, there's talk of the bad CGI effects, the CGI seagulls and all that, and the driving scenes and all that, and the romance and the bad audio, and the audio is really bad. There are many times where they didn't get a windscreen or something on the camera or on the microphone, and it was really, really muddled, and I'm like, this is something that came out in 2023, or was released in 2023, even if it was shown in film festivals last year. Hard to believe we're in 2023. I want to say one piece of dialogue before I get into spoilers. So Evan is talking to Kim, and they're on a pier. They're peering into the abyss, and the abyss went to sleep. because he set himself on fire in TNA. Non-wrestling fans have no idea what I'm talking about. He's talking about helping, the mechanisms of aging, but except he screwed up saying the word mechanisms, which happens. Words are difficult, especially when you're nervous being on film. But hang on, I screwed up the word mechanisms. Keep rolling. Really? He says, what really got me into studying this was my grandmother died from Alzheimer's, an age-related disease. Yeah, age-related disease, we kind of know what Alzheimer's is. I don't think James Wen does. I don't think he knows what words are from this planet, clearly, because he wrote this. He wrote this, by the way. What's your advice for living longer? Well, I would say eating less. Yeah, starve yourself. Just starve yourself. Your body is like a car, and and the more you use your car, the more there's wear and tear on, like the tires and so on. Yeah, the body is sort of like a car and everything, but so we're supposed to eat less and starve ourselves? We're not supposed to eat junk? Okay, I mean, sure, yeah, if they stop making junk taste so good, but this is the level of dialogue you would get in this. His company was called Immortal Therapeutics, with Rejuvenate. Regenerate, some side effects may occur, and then Albert Wesker shows up and destroys everybody. God, if only they could have afforded the Nemesis, except this movie is my nemesis. Sadly, not the worst thing I've seen this year. It'll be up there because it's not even entertainingly bad. But yeah, that's the type of dialogue you're going to get in Birdemic 3 Sea Eagle. Yes, eventually sea eagles show up, but, again, we can't call sea eagles fly away sea eagles. Yeah, it's terrible. Why have I gone on this long about it? Pretty much because it deserves to be shredded, because it is really, really terrible. Really, really, really terrible. Yeah. It's a few bucks on Amazon. I encourage you guys, rent it, watch it with some friends. Yeah, support the artist. The movie's terrible, but at least support the artist. There are worse movies out there that get big budgets that, quite frankly, don't deserve it. Amsterdam comes to mind, but nevertheless. Yeah, the joke got played out even pretty much halfway through the first Birdemic, and then they did the sequel because it was inevitable. And now I cannot imagine they're going to do Birdemic 4. I don't know what else they can do, because if they have, this little amount of bird attacking in a Birdemic movie, in a movie called Birdemic, I can't imagine what else they can do. And also they reference Vertigo and Wildfires, Joel Cambot, Wildfires, they do that a whole lot. Vertigo, one of my favorite movies. Really, I fucking love Vertigo, and I don't ever want to watch Vertigo after this, and I love Vertigo. Thank you, James Wen, for making me never want to watch Vertigo again. Fuck you, James Wen. How dare you, James Wen? How dare you? 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So anyway, here's some more of the dialogue here that I'm going to talk about. I don't know why in the world I'm talking about a spoiler section here in a movie called Birdemic 3 Sea Eagle. But yeah, in that scene, Kim's talking about a water acidity chart. That's how we know they're getting cancer. What? The acid in the water is right. I'm not saying that we're not messing up the plan. Animal life isn't dying off, but what? What? So, yeah, he talks about, the age-related disease and eating less, and Vertigo. It's my favorite movie. Oh, it's my favorite movie, too. The pigeons, by the way, in the background that made no noise are the best actors in the goddamn movie. I'm sorry to everybody that tried, but it wasn't good. So, we go to San Juan Bautista, but I walk alone inside this pier of danger, where no one follows me, and I pigeon alone. Boom. Non-wrestling fans have no idea what I'm referencing. And, yeah, they talk about more wildfires. There's a guy painting a sea eagle talking about wildfires. Wildfires, Joel. Crow, wildfires. Servo, wildfires. Wait, Servo was the one saying rock climbing. Cambot, rock climbing. MST3K fans are dying laughing in the comments. And then this guy gets out of after we see footage of a shark, he gets out and he's like, oh my God, shark, are you okay? Do we need to call 911? No, there's no reason, but these sharks are getting vicious, even though they're just swimming in another location, but I don't want to windsurf anymore. So, $1 million house realty from this guy that had a huge stretched out face. I'm sorry to unnamed realtor, but he says even a condo in San Francisco costs over $1 million. I don't know if that's actually true. I know San Francisco is pretty costly. Are you really sure that you want a house that's surrounded by trees in the forest, as opposed to a house that's surrounded by, I don't know, hand puppets in the forest? What else would it be surrounded by if it was in the forest? You fucking idiot. Thinking too much into it? More wildfires, Joel. Cambot, wildfires. Dr. Forrester, wildfires. And then at one point they're doing this. They have this part where they go to some area and they see a giant whale skeleton. Awesome looking whale skeleton was a line that was actually put in this movie. Awesome looking whale skeleton. You're Mr. Green, founder of Pay Me Odyssey Space. Odyssey Space Line and Green and the Green Card Company. And he wants to create an elevator that will take people to space. Gee, I wonder who that sounds like. Yeah, they're mocking Elon Musk is what they're doing here. Or praising him. I can't really tell with this movie. And then this Mr. Green guy says, well, we can't stop climate change. We can only hope to contain it because over 1,000 gigatons of CO2 has been released in the atmosphere. 1,000 gigatons? Great Scott! Then we have a Code Red technology thing where it's like his technology to put a space elevator into space to take people to colonize the moon and Mars. I think I have that right. That's fine. Let's go mess up other planets and everything. Let's go find Matt Damon on Mars. And then they talk about, and then they're at Alfred Hitchcock's vacation home. Help me, dear God, help me. How dare you, James Nguyen? You will meet the same fate that Marie Antoinette did. At least she did positive things for the world. They talk about... At one point, Evan mentions that he loves Kim. Kim wants a Tesla, because why not? And more Vertigo stuff and romance. Not a bad romance. We're over 40 minutes in with no attacks. 40 minutes in of an 83-minute movie. And then the singer that said hanging out with the family does a song called Cosmic Beauty that is basically just a very depressing song when you actually read the lyrics. Put on the subtitles when you watch this on Amazon or YouTube or wherever when you buy it, and you will see what I mean. And then we get Crackers doing karaoke of a song from the very beginning that, hey, we paid for the whole damn song and damn it, we're going to use it. 52 minutes in, and we get a scene between not Rod and not Natalie, and they get all frisky in the hotel room. And then ominous music. 56 minutes in, and finally the birds start dive bombing like they did in the first one. If you, again, have not seen either of the two Birdemic movies, you are totally lost by this point. And then people are getting killed, and then we go into the woods. We don't get the guy that hears a mountain lion and then has to get away. There's Rod and Katie. And Rod explains that him and Natalie are no longer together because we parted as friends and she went her own way. She went her own way and we parted as friends. The birds are back to attack us. It's a nice day for a nature run. It's a nice day to not wear a card again. And then 3 Hispanic-looking bikers got killed drinking Modelo, and then they tried shooting the birds and killed some of them. And despite the fact there were only about 20 birds, there still were 20 birds, and despite some of them dying, there were still 20. Hey, let's take their guns and defend ourselves against these crazy birds. And then they go to this, and then more exploding. This bar is there. Everybody gets killed in this bar after we just see them alive a few seconds ago. Did the birds run in and do this and then leave? Why was the door open? They're all dead, Rod. She's dead too. Yeah, Rod. Yeah, that's how all works. Then they go to the RV park where people are dying. Yeah, Rod, they actually drink in this bar with dead bodies all around. And then they go to an RV park where one person's using a pitchfork, one's using a broken umbrella. Ella, A. That doesn't look like an umbrella. One lady's, I brought a rake. Ha, ha, ha. And then they wave the rakes and the weapons and everything, even though the birds are about, 100 feet in the goddamn air. But nevertheless, we can reach them with our weapons. Why am I even recounting this like it actually goddamn matters? Then his old man spouts climate change. I swear he was the old guy from the first one. By the way, the mother, Natalie, wasn't in this, and the woman that played Natalie's mother wasn't in this either because apparently, I guess she passed away before her scenes could be completed, and that's terrible. That's terrible. Hopefully she was able to hopefully she is resting in peace. And then talks about temperature change. Temperature is rising too much and we're all dead. You know what you need to do? You need to have lots of sex. That's what the old man says. I'm not even kidding. That's what he actually says. These are lines that were actually put in a finished product. And then one black guy gets killed smoking a joint and says, just as he's dying, says to Rod, forgive the birds. And the birds attack more and then leave. And one of the final lines was the birds are giving us a second chance. You got a second chance after the first movie, and then there was a second one, and there's a third one, so it'd actually be a third chance, but that's okay. You can't figure this out, you stupid bitch. Yeah, F. It gets an F. It's not even entertaining. I was all ready to laugh at this, and I was laughing at the fact that this was actually the finished product. I am astonished by the incompetence that James Wan has when it comes to filmmaking. Jesus! Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retland. Seagull! See you soon.